The father tightly strapped his son to his chest and then leapt from the top of a cliff. It sounds insane, but this was simply their daily life. You see, the father was an ice merchant. Their home was built on the edge of a cliff, where year-round freezing temperatures could turn water into ice overnight. So every morning, the father packed the ice into insulated boxes, fastened a parachute, and jumped off the cliff with his son in his arms. The howling wind rushed past their ears, but the two of them were long used to it. Only their hats were lost each time. When they reached the right altitude, the father pulled the parachute open, and carried by the wind, they glided toward the town at the foot of the mountain. After selling all the ice, they took a crude lift system to slowly make their way back to the mountaintop. Life repeated itself like this, and the only thing ever taken away was their hats. At night, warm lights filled the house as the father and son prepared for dinner. The boy took out his own cup, then picked up the yellow one, his expression turning sorrowful. The father walked over, patted his son on the shoulder, and gently put the cup back in its place. It was his mother's cup. She had passed away a year earlier. The next morning, everything seemed the same as usual. They packed the ice again, and once more stood at the edge of the cliff. The newly bought hat was swept away by the wind just like before, as if life were meant to go on this way. But suddenly, disaster struck. As the temperature kept rising, the water in the tanks could no longer freeze into ice. Even worse, the snow piled on the mountaintop began to melt, and massive chunks of snow came crashing down. The small house shook violently, and even their only parachute slid off the cliff. As the house swayed in the wind, the father quietly shed tears. At last, he made a desperate decision. He held his son tightly in his arms and jumped from the cliff once more. This time, he fell backward, shielding the child against his chest. The fierce wind roared again. Their hat was blown away. In a daze, they saw a familiar figure. She wore a yellow hat and opened her arms to embrace them. The next moment, the world fell into darkness. When the two finally woke up, they discovered that, by sheer luck, they had landed on years' worth of piled-up hats, and both had survived. Only then did the father truly understand. Some people may be gone, but they never truly leave.